video, we're going to cover the basics of transferring your completed manuscript into one of our templates and then formatting that entire manuscript into a book. So today we're going to cover the basics of getting your manuscript ready to go into the template. We're going to use a few sample chapters from the Life and Adventures of Robinson Crusoe, and we're going to transfer that over into one of our templates, which is the Crimson template for Word. We're going to be using Microsoft Word 2016 to go over the demo, and in this entire process you can follow along at your own pace and pause this video at any time. So to begin, we're going to take our formatted manuscript that we have here, and I want to cover a few of the basics for how to use Microsoft Word to get your manuscript ready to go into the template. Now, we have Microsoft Word opened here, and we have Word set in the Show Hide mode so that we can see all of the hidden formatting marks that are in our Word document. To be able to enable those, you need to click on the Home tab and then find the Pilcrow mark for Show Hide. So we're going to turn that on by clicking the Pilcrow mark. So what you're going to see here is when you enable that Pilcrow mark, each of the hidden formatting marks, be it carriage returns, Pilcrows, page breaks, and spaces, will become visible in your document. So that you can get a better view here, we're going to change our view to page width, and you can better see what I'm talking about. So one of the basic fundamentals of Word is the use of the Pilcrow. The Pilcrow denotes every single point at which Microsoft Word breaks a paragraph. And Microsoft Word operates on the fundamentals that every single paragraph is basically sequential. So this paragraph ends with this Pilcrow, the next paragraph ends with this Pilcrow, and so on and so forth throughout the document. So when Word reads and opens the file, it logically looks through each line of text or each paragraph and ends it with a Pilcrow. If we scroll down into our manuscript, you'll see the same thing repeat over and over. You've got your chapter paragraph, again, ends in a Pilcrow. The title ends in a Pilcrow, and then each paragraph, even though it's multiple lines, ends in that same Pilcrow. So the Pilcrow is actually created by simply pressing the Enter key on your keyboard, which creates a new paragraph in Microsoft Word and creates a new Pilcrow so that you can type in text. So we're going to back this out and delete our sample text that we just typed here. And we'll go over a few other fundamental formatting marks before we get started. So you'll notice that there are a couple other different formatting marks. You'll notice dots that appear in between words. Those are actually representations of spaces in the document. So anytime you see a dot, that means you've pressed space on the space bar. So if you push space bar a couple of times, it's going to create 3 dots. When you turn off Show Hide mode, those are invisible. You'll notice there's a lot of extra space there, but you may not know why. So if you click that Show Hide mode, you'll see those formatting dots, so we can back those out too. You also notice a carriage return. So what a carriage return is a way to break a line within a paragraph. Now you may wonder why you'd want to break a line in a paragraph, but it's actually very handy whenever you're doing any kind of manual formatting. So for instance, if we delete that carriage return, you'll see that this paragraph contains the words by Daniel Defoe. If we click here, hold down our shift button and hit enter, we've now broken this same paragraph into 2 lines. This can be really handy for formatting things like titles, subtitles, or any kind of manually aligned text like poetry, where you want to keep everything in the same paragraph within the Pilcrows, but you want to have individual line breaks. So you create that by clicking or by holding down shift and pressing enter. The next kind of mark that you're going to see are breaks. Microsoft Word uses a system of breaks to break pages up. The most common one is the page break. So when you've completed all the typing on a page that you want to make and move to the next page, you can insert this page break symbol, and then it will automatically begin the next paragraph on the next page. So this is very handy if you want to move to another page and you don't want to do the old version. A lot of people will go in and they'll just keep pressing enter to try to get to the next page. You don't want to do that. You want to try to limit the amount of paragraph breaks that you have and use either page breaks or section breaks to make those breaks. Now, what you've seen here are page breaks. Microsoft Word actually has a couple different types of breaks that we're going to cover in detail later. But in a nutshell, when you go into the Layout tab of Microsoft Word up here at the top, there's a breaks drop down, and you can insert different types of breaks for different situations. You can insert basic page breaks, which simply move to the next page, or you can insert section breaks, which section breaks are used heavily in our templates to format books. The section break is really neat because it effectively creates a separate document within the same Word document, so that you can have really neat things like continuation of numbering from previous chapters. If you're using running heads in your chapters, you can have those reset for right and left. Again, we'll cover all those later on in the demo, but I just want to make you aware that under that Layout tab, there's a drop down for breaks, where you can insert either the page break, a next page break, continuous page break, even page break, or odd page break, and they're all very useful. So, now that you know a little bit about how show hide works, I want to talk about making sure your manuscript is in tip-top shape before you go to put it in a template. So, whenever you transfer text into the template, you're transferring over not only the words, but also any of the hidden formatting marks that you see in the document. When you paste in your text, you're going to be pasting in any manual line breaks, you're going to be pasting in any page breaks. As we go through the document, you're going to see that all of your formatting, even italics that you have in your manuscript, or if you have something in bold, will transfer over into the template. So we want to make sure that your manuscript is as clean as possible. And to do that is very simple. A few best practices. Make sure that you have as few paragraph breaks as you need. So even that little extra one there, we don't need it, so we'll remove it. We have on this title page the title. We create a new paragraph. We have the author and the illustrator listed. We have the company that printed the book listed. And the same goes through with the copyright page. We just have some details on here. Now, your manuscript doesn't have to have a title page or a copyright page. That's just for this sample. The real thing we need to make sure we have are clearly marked chapters, chapter numbers, chapter titles, and that the text itself is free of any extra formatting. So here you'll see I have the normal style applied to the paragraph in Microsoft Word. There are no tab indents. We didn't use any kind of tabs to indent the lines. They're just straight up paragraph formatted text. We don't have any extra paragraph marks in between the paragraphs, so we didn't add an extra space or two between each paragraph. Each paragraph is its own set space in between each pilcrow. We went through and we made sure we've cleaned up any extra spaces and generally made a very plain, well, there was an extra space we missed right there. Let's back that out. Make sure that we have a very cleanly formatted document that is free of any extra formatting. And this goes down through the entire document. If you look, as we scroll down, which is fairly long, chapter 1, when we get to where chapter 2 is, we have a couple of extra paragraph breaks that were used here. We can actually clean those out later, but the main thing is we have clearly marked chapters and we're free of as many extra marks as we can have. So the next thing we're going to do is open up our template. Now when we open up our template in Microsoft Word, this is our Crimson template. This is a 6x9" version. There's a few new features I want you to take a look at. First thing, we want to make sure we have that Show Hide mode enabled so that we can see all those formatting marks. So again, up on your toolbar under the Home tab, make sure you have the Show Hide mode enabled, and you'll be able to see those pilcrows and all the manual line breaking and the page breaking in the document. The next thing that is very handy is to have the navigation pane open. You can open that by selecting View and making sure navigation pane is checked. And what that's going to do, that's going to give you an ability to go through and quickly go through all the chapter headings that you've created in the document and see your book actually come together as you put chapters in it. So it's very handy for moving around the book just by clicking on that. So to start off with our template, a few things you need to see here. First, just like in the manuscript that we went over, every Word document uses these pilcrow marks to start and stop paragraphs. Now, Microsoft Word uses styles to control the look and feel and layout of the text in each paragraph, and it's really a paragraph-based style. Now, granted, there are character styles. We don't really get into those too much. The template is based on paragraph-based styles. So you'll see here that War and Peace is one paragraph, and up here in the style gallery we have a style called Title, and that title style is applied to the words War and Peace, and that's what creates the larger font that's spaced out a little more and is the correct typeface, which is the Gandhi serif typeface that we have here. So changing that style, say we want to put it back into normal text, we have a body normal typeface. If we click that, it formats that paragraph full of text automatically back to just the normal basic body style. But since this is our title page of our book and we want that to have that title style, we'll just go back to our style gallery, click on Title, and it automatically formats that. Now the beauty of the template is we've laid out all of the styles that you should need for your book. It's very handy. We've got styles set up for subtitle, we've got styles set up for the author name. As you go down through the book, we have a style for the copyright page so that the text is styled and matched. We have special styles for I'll scroll down to the body of the book here, for the chapter number, for the chapter title. The body of the book, the regular text of the book, has several different options for indented titles, non-indented, centered pictures, you name it. We've got a style for it. So we're going to basically go through and simply using the styles above, click through the book and format it. It's really that easy. It's pretty cool. So to start with, I'm going to go back up to our title page and I'm going to make it a little bit larger with our view, and we'll go back to the page width, and we're going to want to go ahead and change the title of our book. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to retitle this, and I've got it copy and pasted over here. So I'll go in here, I'm going to right click with my mouse to open up my paste options, keep text only, and you'll see that it's pasted in the entire title of the book. Now, as you can see, the title of the book broke in a few different places that I don't really like. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click and I'm going to hold down that shift and press enter, and I'm going to break the book where I want it to break. So now we have a break here using the shift enter and a break here using the shift enter, and we've created a title page that is laid out with the title so it reads a little bit better and reads how we want it to read. Now this book does not have a subtitle, so we're just going to delete that out. Now next, we've got a single author in our template. In the actual book, we have a author and an illustrator. So again, we're going to go through, and you'll see that this particular style, the author style, has a very wide top and bottom margin to space out the page. So when we paste this in and keep the text only, you'll see that it put several different large paragraph marks in here. So I'm going to back out that. I'm going to use my Shift Enter. I'm going to back that out, use my Shift Enter again. And then I'm going to highlight this text. I'm going to apply that author style. Yep, and then I want to delete that and put that in a second one. Now, with the author company, we're going to delete the company off here, since we don't have a lot of room on here because we have so many different authors and illustrators. And we've got a page break at the bottom of the page, and then we have the copyright page on the next. So if we zoom back out, you're going to see that we have created a fairly large title page here with The Life and Adventures of Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe with illustrations by H.M. Brock. And then we're going to move down to the next page, which is our copyright page. So here, it's very simple. Just fill in the text. This particular book was originally from 1719, so we're going to change our copyright page. And then we're going to change the company that has the copyright. And then again, we've got our publishing name and company and address, so you're going to want to use your own. So in keeping with what we were doing earlier, I'm going to paste in the original here. And also I'm going to list the book title and the author name. So we'll paste in our Robinson Crusoe. And we'll do it by Daniel Defoe. And then we're going to paste in our ISBN number. And we're done with the copyright page. So moving on down the book, there are some other front matter pages that you can customize. We've added a dedication page with an automatic section break. And we've also got a page where you can type over a quotation. And we've already got that section break put in there. And we have a contents page already created with a table of contents. And I'm going to advise to just look this over, but don't make any changes to this. We're going to cover how the table of contents works toward the end of the video. But just note that it's there, and it's something that will automatically update as you format your book, and it's pretty slick. So going on down, let's examine a chapter title page. So as you can see here, chapter 1 of the book, I want to widen this out again. We have the chapter number, which is styled with the chapter number style. We have the chapter name, which is styled with the chapter name style or chapter title style. We've inserted a drop cap character. We have the body of the text itself. And as we scroll down, you'll see that every paragraph has a single paragraph break, and our body normal style actually automatically indents with a small indent. We've inserted a picture, and that one's styled with our picture style, which automatically centers the picture. We've go down through, we've got, in this particular sample, we have what's called a subheading. So if you want to have a bit of a break or a subheading in your document, you can use subheading A. Some of our nonfiction titles will actually have B subheadings too, so if you have a lot of different different headings or types of subject headings. You can have a subheading A and a B. And as you go down through, you'll notice that at the very end of the chapter, before the next chapter, we have a section break odd page. Now, like we discussed earlier when we were talking about the manuscript, the section break odd page is a type of break where when you insert this mark, no matter what kind of page you're on here, be it an even or an odd page, it will automatically start the next chapter on an odd page. Now, when you open up your book and you look at an actual book file, the odd pages are on the right-hand side. The even pages are on the left-hand side. So when you print that book out, even page on the left, odd page on the right, and most industry standard books will have the chapters start on the right-hand page. You do have the option in templates to have the chapters just start wherever they fall on the next page using a next page break. And again, those are created by going to the layout, hitting breaks, and you'll see next page starts the chapter on the next page. You can start the chapter on the odd page like we just talked about, or an even page. So again, whenever we go to format the book, I want to show you in a little more detail how that works. But keep in mind that section breaks are really kind of the key. And the reason why section breaks instead of page breaks are the key when you're formatting a book, if you'll notice on the next chapter, there are no running heads here. So you have no author name, no page number, but we do have a page number at the bottom. And then the next page of the book, which will be on the left-hand page, has a page number and an author name. No page number at the bottom. And then the following page has the book title and the page number, and again, no number at the bottom of the page. So what we've done with our templates is we've set up a system where when you open up the headers and footers, there's a different type of first page whenever you start a new section, a different even and odd page in the section. And what that's going to mean is, so whenever I insert a section break here, I'm telling Word that I have a new chapter beginning, be it starting on an odd page or starting on the next page. So Word knows that on the very next page, which you'll see this was section 5, so now we're in section 6, the very first page is going to be formatted differently. It's not going to have a running head at the top. It's going to have the page number at the bottom. And then the even page header for section 6 is going to be different. It's going to have that even page number. It's going to have the author name in it. And then when we go down to the odd page for section 6, you're going to see that it has an odd page number and the book title. And every subsequent even and odd page after that for the rest of the section will follow the same formula of an odd page header and an even page header. And then when that chapter ends, which this is a very short chapter in this sample, we have another section break odd page. You'll see that this next section has a different first page with page number, and then it starts over the sequence again. So another thing to note too, when you use an odd page break, keep in mind the page number down here at the bottom of the screen. So you'll see right now we're clicked here on page 15 of the document. Now we told Word, which page 15 is a odd page, so odd number page. So we told Word we want the next chapter to begin on an odd page. So whenever we look here, you'll see this is page 15. The next page in our document is an odd page, 17. Okay, so where's 16? Well, Word hides the hidden blank even page when you use an odd page break, if it has one. So if this was page 16, then page 17 would be right here and there'd be no blank and it would look just like this. But this is page 15. It knows it needs to put in a blank page on the back of this page, which would be the left-hand page, which is 16, to start the next chapter on an odd page, since we told it to break there. So you look here, you see page 17, 16's hidden, and when you print the PDF, the blank page will show up as the back of this page, so that this chapter starts on an odd page. I know it's a little bit of a tough concept to sometimes grasp until you actually compare it with the PDF and see how those breaks work. But the best way to make sure that you've got everything set the way you want is to check which page number you're on in your document down here as you're working through it. So if you're using odd page breaks, that chapter is going to start right there on page 17 or on the odd page. So you want to go ahead and go back up in your template to chapter 1, or we can just click on it by clicking over on our navigation menu. Now, the next step is to get ready to transfer our manuscript into the template. To do that, let's go into a full page view so we can see the entire page. Alright, first we want to clear out the 3 chapters of sample text that we have in the template. To do that, you'll click right before the C in chapter 1 in the sample chapter, and then you'll scroll all the way down to the end of the sample text, and right at the very end of this paragraph, the last paragraph in the sample text before the About the Author page, you're going to hold down your Shift key, and then you're going to click to highlight all of the sample chapter text in the book. So there's about 11 pages of it. Once it's all highlighted, hit your Delete key, and now you'll see that after the table of contents, there's a blank page here with a section break, and then there's your author page, and there's no sample text. Also, I like to make sure that I've got a little bit of extra room, so I'll press enter here to make sure we have a paragraph, and then we're going to have the body normal style here selected. Okay, the next step, we're going to bring our manuscript back up. So again, I'm going to go back to the 1-page view, and we've already put in our title page information, so we're not going to use any of that. We've already filled out our copyright page, so we're not going to use any of that. So let's start at chapter 1. So we're going to click right before the C in chapter 1. And then this is a fairly long book. It's 26 pages total, 24 pages of text, and I've only got the first 3 chapters of the book. So this is what we're going to do. We're just going to go through the first 3 chapters to make sure you've got the process down right. So we're going to click here on chapter 1, and I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom. And just like I did in the template, I'm going to hold down my Shift key, and right at the very end, I'm going to click. And that is going to highlight all of the text in the book. I want to right click in it, and we'll hit copy. So now I've copied the chapters from my book, from my manuscript, to clipboard in Microsoft Windows. And then let's go back to a page with view. So you'll notice I've copied over chapter 1, the chapter name. I've got my text. Now I've put a italicized piece of text here on purpose in the first paragraph to illustrate a point. And whenever I go in to show you the rest of the template, you'll see what I'm talking about. So when I open my template back up, I'm going to go in here, and now I'm going to paste my template in, or paste in my manuscript. So I'll just go up here and I'll click paste. And now we're going to scroll all the way back up to the top where we had just pasted in. You'll see it's pasted in the whole book. You'll notice that my italics carried over. Any bold text that you have will carry over. So it's very important that you check that before you move any further in the process. Make sure that whenever you perform the paste that you got that italics in there. Microsoft Word has several different paste options. If you'll notice when you click, you can paste destination theme, you can paste keep source formatting, you can merge formatting, keep text only. Sometimes those may strip out things like italics and bolds, or it may actually import in a larger page size. Like if we went in and pasted in keep the source formatting, you'll notice how the page widened out and put in 8.5 by 11, which we don't want. So we want to keep the same page size, and we want to make sure that when we paste in that text, we're getting everything that we have in the book, including the italics. So a very important note there. So now we've pasted in our chapters, and you'll see that all the text carried over the rag right formatting and the extra space of the paragraphs from the original book. So now here's what we're going to do to make sure that the entire book, since most of the book is going to be the main body text, is formatted right. We're going to highlight again the entire chapter. So we're going to click here at chapter 1. We're going to scroll all the way back down to the very end of the template, right before our author page. We're going to hold down our shift key again. Now we're going to select all of our text. And now we're going to one time click the body normal style. When you click that one time, it automatically formats all of the body text of the book to match the style of the template. So now you go from rag right to justification on both sides of the margins. So now your text is justified. You'll see that we've added a small indent instead of a space between the paragraphs, and the text matches the font and the font size that we had selected. So in one stroke, you formatted the majority of your book. So now we're going to scroll all the way back up to the top. So now we've got the entire book formatted out. Now you notice I said only click body normal once. If you have a section of text highlighted and you want to completely reset all of the formatting and make it conform to the style that we have in the template, you can actually click on that multiple times and it will completely reset any text. Now that's really handy if you've got something where it's imported over some bold text or some italic that you want to get rid of, say in a title or in a subtitle or a heading. You can double click on that and it'll completely reset all that text to that style. However, if we do that in the body of the book, you'll notice it cleared out that italic, and we don't want to clear out our italics or our bolds in our book usually. So you only want to make sure you click that once. Now I'm going to undo applying that style twice to make sure we keep that italic, and now we've got everything set up for the majority of the book. It's automatically hyphenated, the book, and if you're the kind of author that does not like hyphenation in a book, and there are a few, it's very easy to turn that off, and it's a very quick trick. So right now you'll notice this word was automatically hyphenated by Microsoft Word. On down through, you'll see another hyphen added. If you don't like that, you can go into Layout. On the Layout pane, click the hyphenation drop down, and you can select None. And then it automatically removes any hyphenation. Now, what that does, it opens up a little bit of extra white space sometimes in some of the words. So you just have to weigh whether you want to have that extra white space between words or if you want to have the hyphenation. So by default, the template is set to automatic and on. If you don't like the hyphenation, you can turn it off. It's completely your choice. Okay, so now that we have the body of the text here formatted how we want to make that chapter look really nice. So as a chapter heading, I'm going to click on Chapter 1. I'm going to click on my Home tab, and then I'm going to use the chapter number style to automatically format my Chapter 1. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the chapter name. I'm going to click on the chapter name style, and it's chapter name. Now you see it's starting to come together as a book. It's really awesome. So now you click on this. Now, In our template, by default, we have a drop cap character. So to insert that is very easy. We're going to go up here, instead of the body normal, we're going to hit body no indent. And what body no indent does is it just removes that little bit of indent and squares off the first paragraph. Now, if we want to insert the drop cap, I'll highlight the first letter, the I, and then I'm going to hit Insert on the Insert tab up here. And then under Drop Cap, I'm going to hit Dropped. And now we have a drop cap. So very easy to put in the drop caps. They're totally optional. If you don't like the drop cap, you don't have to put it in there. But it's easy to put in. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure our running heads and our page numbering is set up how we like it. So the next thing we're going to do, we've got chapter 1. I normally like chapter 1 to start as page 1 in my book. So if you go down here to the footer and you double click your mouse, it opens up the footer to edit. So now your natural tendency may be to highlight and delete that 9 and put it in a 1, but you don't want to do that. Instead, Word has a automated numbering system for page numbering. So if I highlight that 9 that's in here now and I right click my mouse, you're going to see a format page numbers option. So if I click that, you're going to see page number format. You can change the style if you like, different kinds of numbering. But what I'm going to do, instead of continue the page numbering from the previous section, I want my chapter 1 page 1 to start on page 1. So I'm going to click OK, and it automatically updates to page 1, and then the following pages automatically update. So now on my next page I have page 2 for the author name. So let's zoom in here a little bit. So you can see now I have page 1. Page 2 is the author name. And I'm going to go ahead and type in my author name. And then I'm going to scroll on down to the next page. And for my book title, I'm going to put that in there too. So I'm going to highlight that. And then paste in my title. And then this particular one I had a space there at the end before the next page number. And then you can hit Design, and then you can close your header. So now you'll see I've got page 1. The left hand or even page is page 2, and it's now got my author name. If I scroll down, you'll see page 3 also has your book title, and then it repeats that same process back and forth. Page 4, page 5, and so on and so forth. So now you've just set up your entire first chapter. And I'm going to scroll back up here at the top and show you something else that's really neat. So now, whenever we styled that chapter name, Start in Life, with the chapter name, this actually set that in our navigation pane over here on the left. So now, anytime we want to click on that, it'll take us back to this. And when you see it over here, that also means that whenever we do our update to our table of contents later, everything that is in this navigation pane is going to show up as chapters with page numbers in the contents. So if I right click on this right now and I update the field for the table of contents, it's going to show page 1 has Start in Life. And that's the only chapter we formatted so far. So we're going to reiterate that as we go down through the document. So I've clicked back down to chapter 1, Start in Life. Now I want to go through and I'm going to find my next chapter. So I'm going to scroll down through here quickly. And we got a little bit of text here, so it may take a second to scroll down through. But we're going to set up for our next chapter. Chapter 2. Okay, so now we've got a couple of extra enter keys here. Makes it a little bit easier to find your chapter. So I'm going to delete those out. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a section break. So instead of having this page 16 with the running head, I'm going to start a new chapter. So I'm going to go up here to Layout, I want to select breaks, and here I want all my chapters to start on an odd page. So I'm going to click odd page, and it bumps the page down, and you'll see right here there's a section break odd page. Now, just so that I can see those and make sure that those are in the book, I usually hit enter right before them so that they're their own line, and that way I can quickly scroll through and see any of my section breaks. So now I go down, my next page has a blank running head. The page numbering is now reset at the bottom. So I'm going to go up here to the top. I'm going to delete that extra paragraph break. Go back to my home tab. Again, I'm going to hit chapter number. So I've made chapter 2. The title, Slavery and Escape. I'm going to hit chapter title, and that adds it again over here to the navigation pane. Again, I'm going to go over here and we'll select body no indent to remove that indent. I want to highlight that, the T in that. I'm going to go to insert. We'll go to my drop cap. I'm going to do dropped. So now we've just dropped in a drop cap. We've titled out our chapter. We've created our chapter title, which is now here in our navigation and will show up when we update the table of contents. And then I want my numbering to continue from the previous section. So if I open up this template and I highlight that one and I right click and I hit format page numbers, I want to choose continue from previous section here. So what that's going to do is, where this is section 6, I'm going to continue the numbering from section 5. And I hit OK. So now we have page 17. And again, it'll update throughout the rest of the document, page 18, page 19, and so on. So when we close that, we've now got a fully formatted chapter 2. So again, everything's all set and ready to go. So I'm going to scroll back through, make sure everything looks right, and we'll go down and I'm going to find where I have my chapter 3. And we'll take a few seconds here to scroll through. It's a long book, but I want to go through slow. Okay, so now we have our chapter 3. So now we're going to repeat the same process we did for the last chapter. I'm going to go in here, I'm going to delete out that extra paragraph breaks. I want to go over to my layout tab. I'm going to hit the breaks drop down, insert an odd page break. So I go back up and I see that section break. I'm going to move it down just to make sure it's really visible. And then I'm going to delete that extra paragraph. Go back to my home tab. Insert chapter number. Use the style for the chapter title. Now you see here's chapter title that is a little bit long. I want it broken here, so I'm going to click before that D, hold down my shift, press enter, and it's going to break that. Now when you do that shift enter, you'll notice it does not break it on your navigation pane, which is very nice. And when you have it in your table of contents, it won't show as broken. It'll just show as one single line. So that's very handy. Use that shift enter to break that. And then here I'm going to do the body no indent again. I want to add my drop cap. So I'm going to hit insert, drop cap, dropped. Okay, I'm going to go check my page number. Now, since the last chapter we did, chapter 2, had continue from previous chapter, previous section, it's automatically continued that numbering, so we don't have to go in there and edit that numbering now for this new chapter. And that same formula should apply for subsequent chapters. So after you get chapter 1 set up with the right page number and then chapter 2 set to continue, as you go through and format the book, it should automatically go through and sequentially number the rest of the pages without you having to do any kind of manual action on each chapter. So keep an eye on it just to make sure it's exactly numbered as you like, but that's how it continues through. It'll carry that same running head through as you had before. And if we go all the way down to the bottom, we now have a fully formatted out book, and there should be a section break at the very end that we had left in there from the last template, from the original template. And then we have our author page that we can go in. Now you can type that in as all caps like I had it, or you can type it in plain. You can put in your biography and you can insert your picture. And if we zoom back out now to one page, we now have a completely designed and laid out and formatted book. We did this 54 page book. Took us just a few minutes, going really slow at making sure that we have everything in place. Now, a lot of books have a few extra elements. They have more than just text. So while I've got you here, I'm going to take just a couple of minutes to go over how to insert a picture, how to apply chapter titles. So we're going to go through this book, and I'm going to go on the second page here, and I'm going to show you how to insert a picture. So this particular book, Robinson Crusoe, is obviously a classic. There's a very famous map that's in the front of the book illustrated. So we're going to put that map though here in the middle of the chapter just for example. So if I press enter here, I create a new paragraph. So I'm going to go to home and I'm going to style this paragraph as picture. And when I do that, that's going to add a little bit of space above, a little bit of space below, and center. And then I'm going to insert a picture, which I don't have the exact picture here. So I'll just insert in one of my stock photographs I've got. And we'll just insert in a waterfall here. So when I insert in that picture, as long as the picture is large enough, it's going to automatically fill out the column width. You can actually go in here and you can drag and resize and reshape as you need to, and it'll stay centered. So if we wanted to make that smaller, we could, and it'll stay centered. I'm going to undo that. But if you click here, and if you want to add a caption, you can simply hit enter and type in a caption. And you can make sure that that's also formatted as a picture. And here you go. So you can go in and you can add as many pictures and as many captions as you like, as long as you use that picture. You can also optionally use body centered. We have like a body center italic, a body center here which doesn't have the extra space, or just use your picture. So a few other useful things too. Let's say you want to have a subheading. So we'll just create a new paragraph. We'll call this one The Voyage. And we want to make that a subheading within the text. So I'm going to go up here, I'm going to find my style for subhead, and I want to add that in. And you'll notice it also adds a subheading entry underneath my main entry here on the navigation pane on the left. So automatically formats that text out as the appropriate amount of space. Now after subheading, a lot of authors like to begin that paragraph without an indent, so you can use the body no indent to even that out, to make that even a little bit nicer if you like. So as you can see, we've got a lot of different options here for how you lay out your text. Some of the other things you can do, some of our nonfiction styles will have quotation available. Some of them will have pull quotes and extracts, which will add some other formatting. So you can just simply highlight a paragraph or click in it, and if that's an option on one of your nonfiction templates, you can click that to add a quote. But generally speaking, that's all you have to do to get any kind of special text format, is just type it out or paste it in and then apply the proper style. Now, we want to make sure we have our table of contents updated to the latest, so I'm going to click here to go all the way up to chapter 1. And then on my contents, I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to right click, and I'm going to choose Update Field. Now, it gives you the option to update only the page numbers, and it doesn't change any of the text, or update the entire table, which will include any new chapters that you might have. So I'm going to click Update Entire Table, and it automatically formats out with my chapter titles. If I have any subheadings, it'll add those as an indented entry, and the page numbers. So now the really cool thing about this contents, especially in Microsoft Word, is we've formatted this book out for print, and we can make a PDF of this file just as we have it now, and it's ready to go off to the printer, be it IngramSpark or CreateSpace or whatever printer you decide to use. But if you want to make an ebook out of it, because of the way Microsoft Word works, if you hold your mouse over, you'll notice it says Control plus click to follow link. So what's really neat, it's added a hyperlink automatically, and it uses that hyperlink to go to the navigation here for each of these entries, so that when you convert this template into an ebook using Calibri or by uploading it, say, to Kindle Direct, it'll strip out these page numbers and automatically make a linked table of contents to each of your chapters and each of your subheadings. So you don't have to worry about going in and making hyperlinks or trying to manually link anything or use bookmarks. I mean, it's automatic. So whenever you go to make an ebook of this, don't worry about these page numbers, and don't worry about any of these running heads or page numbers. The ebook conversion process automatically removes the page numbering, it automatically removes the running heads, and it automatically converts the table of contents to hyperlinks. So you've got that covered. So as always, go back through your book, make a review. You can make adjustments. Say you don't like the way a particular piece of the book looks, you can go back through and make adjustments to your title. If you want to remove your illustrator, you can do that. Any which way you want to customize and make your book work, you can do that. If you decide that you would like to use something like a different font or a different typeface that comes with the template, instead of going through and highlighting and trying to change your fonts in your template, the quick and easy way to do it, any of these styles can be edited. So if we have the chapter title, if I right click on it and choose modify, I can actually change my fonts, my font sizes, the colors, the layout, even how the paragraph looks and the spacing right there by simply modifying it. So if I want to change my font to impact, I hit OK, and it's going to automatically do that for every bit of text styled with that. So you can change any piece of the template that you like. Nothing's locked down. You want to change the body text to something else, change body normal by right clicking on it, modifying it, and then you can change your text there too. So if you want to do Cambria as your font, it'll go through and change that. That was the no indent one. If we want to do the body normal, we can change that one to match it, and it changes the whole book. But the fonts that come with the template are pretty cool. We've designed and styled everything to match and work well together, but again, you're completely free to modify the template as you need to. So that is the complete and total overview of adding your manuscript into the template, making sure everything's cleaned up and some of the core concepts of the template. We're going to have a separate video on how to produce a PDF and how to produce a ebook from the final file, so we'll also release that out. And again, it's your book. Make it beautiful, make it look good, and with book design templates, it's, as you can see, very easy. So have a great day.